Hello! Let the games begin! Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, Microsoft Xbox Series S versus the Nintendo Switch. The battle of the $300 consoles is here. In this video, we're going to go over the console's features, the games, online availability, portability, and of course, the fun factor, to better help you make sure that you're making the best buying decision possible. Heck, you might even be surprised to which one you'll end up liking more in the end. And in case you're new to my versus videos, they tend to be pretty linear as I compare the two. We go back and forth to compare the differences as well as the similarities to give you the best information possible. But before we get to the heart of the matter, could you please give this video a like, as it helps the YouTube algorithm serve this video to more people who are interested in tech videos just like these. I really do appreciate it. Now on to business. Let's talk about the Xbox Series S. The Xbox Series S was released on November 10th, 2020, towards the end of last year. And with your purchase, you'll get the Xbox, of course, a Y controller, an HDMI 2.1 cable, and the power cable. No power brick this generation. Thank you, Lord. The dimensions of this bad boy are 10.8 inches by 5.9 inches by 2.5 inches. It's packing an 8-core AMD Ryzen Zen 2 architecture CPU at 3.6 GHz, AMD Navi RDNA 2 family GPU with 20 CU at 1.565 GHz, aka 4 teraflops. 10 gigabytes of GDDR6 RAM, 512 gigabytes of NVMe SSD to store basically anything, but you're going to mainly use it for your games. There's also a proprietary 1 terabyte SSD add-on module on the back of the device, and a few USB 3.1 ports for any external USB hard drives. Now all that fancy talk just means that the Series S can pump out up to 1440p 120 frames per second. That is, if the game allows it, and if you have a TV/monitor that can handle all that graphical goodness. And as you might be able to tell from the front, there's no disk drive. The Xbox Series S is an all-digital console, which means there's no way to play previous generation games and next generation games via a disc, just like the good old days. Now, it would be a nice option if Xbox would sell an external disk drive for the console later, and maybe they will. But at the time of this recording, that's currently not possible. Now, since your console only comes with 512 gigabytes of onboard stupid fast SSD storage, which is actually about 375 gigabytes left when you first get your console due to the operational needs of the Xbox, you may want to check out an external storage, so you may be able to store more games that you've downloaded. I'll put some videos that are previously done in the cards above, as well as in the description down below, so you can check out those videos after this video is done. Now let's move on to the Switch. The Nintendo Switch was released on March 3rd, 2017, many moons ago. So on a side note, I pre-ordered both these consoles and was actually able to get them both at or around launch day. And even though my day one Switch has taken quite a beating due to my kids playing a little too aggressively, it still works just as it did on day one. So kudos to Nintendo for creating a product that lasts. So with the purchase of the Mario Red and Blue Edition Switch, you'll get, of course, the Switch, a dock, 2 Joy-Cons, a right Joy-Con and a left Joy-Con. You'll get the nifty Mario Blue Joy-Con straps, also as nifty the blue Joy-Con grip, the special edition Mario case, as well as a screen protector, a USB-C power cable, yes please, and an HDMI cable. The dimensions are approximately 4 inches high, 9.4 inches long, and 0.55 inches deep. That is with the Joy-Cons attached. It's packing a multi-touch capacitive touchscreen, 6.2-inch LCD screen, 1280 by 720, NVIDIA custom Tera processor, 32 gigabytes of internal storage, a portion of which is reserved for the use of the system. But users can easily expand the storage space using a micro SD HC or micro SD XC cards up to 2 terabytes, sold separately of course. And when your Switch is docked, connected to your TV or monitor, it can pump out up to 1080p via an HDMI. But if you're taking it on the go or you're sitting on your couch, it can pump out up to 720p via a built-in tabletop mode and handheld mode. It's got an accelerometer, gyroscope, and brightness sensor. The lithium-ion battery is 4,310 milliamps. The battery will approximately last about 4.5 to 9 hours and will take about 3 hours to charge. So all that being said, is the Switch, well, it's basically a glorified tablet. But don't let the power, or lack thereof, fool you. The Switch is in a league of its own, for its own ability to be played portably, or to be docked and to be played directly off your TV. But unlike the Series S, the Switch is not an all-digital device. Yes, you can purchase games digitally and save them to your Switch or expandable storage, just like you would on the Xbox. But you have the option to purchase the Nintendo Switch game cards anywhere electronics are sold. This also means that you can purchase the games used via GameStop, eBay, or any other retailer that sells used games. So while we're on the topic of games, let's talk about the amazing next generation titles that the Xbox Series S has to offer. Well, there's not much, if any, at all at the time of this recording. Now, this was to be expected. Most next generation consoles take some time for the developers to develop games exclusively for the console. However, there are plenty of previous generation games, and even some recently released games, that have been optimized for the Series S to keep you busy in the meantime. Some games that I've played and that are optimized are Gears 5.
Robbers, keep it back! Let him up, Vince! Spin those turrets around!
Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I'm gonna die right now, but cool. Hitman 3.
Enjoy the event.
And The Tourist. Okay. These are just some of the games that I've played and streamed that are optimized. There are so many more previous generation games that are available on Game Pass Ultimate, but we'll go into a little bit more details about the Game Pass Ultimate later on in the video. Now, of course, the Switch has a lot more exclusives to offer since it's been out for almost 4 years. But that wasn't the case when it was first released. Zelda Breath of the Wild was the only release title that was worth buying when it came out. And in actuality, it sold more copies during the initial release time period than Nintendo sold Switches. Basically, if you bought a Switch, you're buying Breath of the Wild. To this day, this very moment, no other game has held my attention for such a long period. I was addicted to that game for months. That's just how it began. Now, how's it going? Well, Nintendo has probably the best first-party games on any console. Watch, here's a list of the top 40-ish games that have been sold for the Nintendo Switch, and you'll see what I mean. Most of the games listed are first-party games, and Nintendo has sold a heck of a lot of them over the years. Nintendo has the golden touch when it comes to games featuring Mario, Luigi, Pokemon, and of course, Splatoon. They know their audience better than any other gaming company, in my humble opinion. Even though the games are fun for everyone's age bracket, we all know that their games are focused towards the younger generation. And that's probably going to be the main difference in developing games between the Xbox and Nintendo. Xbox games are typically developed for teenagers and adults, whereas Nintendo games are typically developed for children. However, once you get past the first-party games for the Switch, the rest of the field looks sort of bleak. Next, let's jump on the online capabilities.
My, oh my, oh my.
Now, you remember when I talked about when the Switch first came out, that everyone that purchased the Switch purchased Breath of the Wild as well? Well, the same can and should be true with Game Pass Ultimate. Everyone, and I mean everyone, that picked up a Series S should ultimately get Game Pass Ultimate for their new beloved console. Now, this is not only for the reason that the Series S is an all-digital console. No, sir. It is because it is the deal of the century. For $1, yes, $1 for your first month, then $15 thereafter, you get access to over 100 high-quality games for the console, PC, and Android mobile devices. New games are added all the time. Xbox Game Studio games the same day as release. Discount and perks, cloud gaming from your Android phone or tablet, Xbox Live Gold for online multiplayer action, and the entire EA Play library. Plus, rumor has it that Ubisoft will join Game Pass shortly, which will add their library to your subscription. Now, to me, that's the true definition of being. Xbox has already announced that soon, and very soon, some previous generation games will get a frames per second boost without the need for developers to tinker with their older titles. The Xbox Series S is powerful enough to take this head on without any special modifications. Now, we don't know which games is this going to be possible on, but Xbox is focusing its attention on Xbox One titles. And guess where you find a lot of those titles? Yep, Game Pass. Nintendo, on the other hand, has a different approach. A very different approach. Nintendo Online was released in September 2018, and honestly, not much has changed since then. A yearly family membership will run you a whopping $35. And this is what's included in your membership. You get 90 plus NES and SNES games, the ability to play online with your friends, and cloud save data. But that's roughly about it. Now, I do enjoy playing some of the classics with my children to showcase what it was like back in my day. But other than that, that's pretty much all we use it for. Finding and playing with friends can be a chore. Plus, since the Switch has no built-in microphone, voice chat is a nightmare. Now, the price may be a lot less expensive than all of its competitors, but even at that price, it's really hard to recommend. I know I really hammered Nintendo right about now, but the next topic is where the Switch truly shines, and that is portability. So let's cheer up our dear old boy, the Switch, from the beating that it just took. The Nintendo Switch is a breath of fresh air from the typical consoles that came out previously. Now, Nintendo is notorious for creating concepts for consoles that no one ever thought that they needed, until Nintendo actually showed us that that's actually what we really wanted. The lifelong dream to take your full-fledged home console on the go became a reality when the Switch first came out. The Switch is begging to be a handheld console just as much as it desires to be docked and played on your TV. The only difference between the two gaming situations is basically the resolution. Other than that, it's overall the same experience. It's an amazing feat when I can watch what I want to watch on my TV at the same time that my kids are playing on the Switch, being daddy's little angels. Now, you might think that the Xbox Series S isn't as portable as the Switch, but let me tell you something, my friend. That may not be the case. According to some recent data, 3.8 billion people own smartphones throughout the world. That's nearly half the world's population that has a smartphone. Now, I don't know how many of the 3.8 billion people have access to high-speed internet or mobile data, but in a general sense, let me explain how you can take your Xbox Series S on the go. Now, I made several videos going into more detail about this phenomenon, and I'll make sure to put it in the cards above as well as the description down below. But on a surface level, you'll need two things to make this work. You'll need a smartphone, of course, and a controller like the Razer Kishi, or even your Xbox controller. You'll need to download the Xbox app and connect remotely to your console or cloud game via Xbox Cloud. Now, in my experience, I've had a better connection experience when I've connected to my Series S rather than the cloud, since I have a pretty good Wi-Fi connection. But of course, your results may vary. And voila, you're gaming on the go. And what's really cool is you can pick up exactly where you left off on the game if you're playing via the cloud or directly off the Series S. It's all interconnected to sync up and save your process. And with that being said, that brings us to our final topic, and that is fun factor. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys and gals. Both are very fun to play for their own separate reasons. I really enjoy all the first-party games when I'm playing with my kids and my family, who aren't as gaming savvy as I am. These are people that really don't want to take the time to learn how to play the game. Rather, they just want to be able to jump right in with little or no explanation. I mean, my kids are able to play some Switch games with my mom, and by no means is she, like her son, an avid gamer. Whereas with the Xbox, I get to play some amazing, graphically intensive, immersive games via this tiny but mighty console. It's really a technical marvel as to how Microsoft puts so much power in such a small device. Plus, as my kids get older, they'll eventually gravitate towards the Xbox to play some more quote-unquote challenging games. Heck, my 3-year-old son is already on his way. And who knows, there might be an Xbox to be opened for his 4th birthday. But ultimately, Handsome Nation, I hope this video helped you out in one way or another. I know both consoles are very hard to get your hands on one, but when the opportunity to purchase one or both presents itself, you can make the best purchase possible. So of course, if you have any questions or if you're interested in purchasing any of the products that I showcased today, leave a comment down below or click the link in the description. Please make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to make sure you're in a loop for all things Handsome Gadgets. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up before you leave, as it definitely helps the channel quite a bit. Thank you and have a good one.